Very good evening to all the AP EAPCET warriors. I hope your preparation is going great, and now in this session we are going to look and practice all the previous year questions. Like that we are going 3 subsequent sessions beta. In this session we are going to solve those PYQs from the chapters Living World, Biological Classification, Plant Kingdom, Morphology of Higher Plants and Anatomy of Flowering Plants. From these chapters we are going to solve the PYQs. Let us get started, and in this PYQ session I am going to cover all the segments like match the following type of questions, assertion reason we are going to practice, and we are going to practice numerical based questions as well. So, here in this question if you see match the following type of question wherein column 1 and column 2 are given. Here this is mainly based on taxonomic tools. This is based on what beta? Taxonomic tools. Just a second. Taxonomic aids or tools. So, here if you see, first is herbarium. Herbarium, immediately we will look into the sheets. Okay, herbarium is what? It is a place where dried pressed plant specimens kept mounted into sheets. That is, A is option 3 here. So, here there is 2 possibilities, A is 3, and key has 2 statements, we will call it as couplet, right, and each statement is called as lead here. So, here it is a booklet, just a second, this if we have to consider a list that enumerates all the species found in the area by briefing the description aiding identification of 2 statements. And museum is a place of collection of plants and animals. Catalog, if you see, that is a booklet which contains list of characters about various taxa. So, here we have to go with the option B. Just look into the statements properly whether they are implying or not, then you have to go for choosing the option. Next if you see nomenclature is governed by certain universal rules which one of the following is contrary to the rules of nomenclature. Biological names can be written in any language, wrong. The first, so here we have to choose the one which is applicable to the universal laws of nomenclature. The first word of the biological name represents the genus and the second is species epithet 2, that is correct. The names are written in Latin and italicized, wrong. The names are written normally, but they are underlined separately. The names should be underlined separately. If they are printed, it will be in the italics. When written by hand, the names should be underlined, true. So, here we have to identify that statement which is contrary to the rules of nomenclature. What is contrary? All these 3 statements are true only, but if you have to look into the first statement, biological names can be written in any language, wrong. Biological names cannot be written in any language. They should be local names can be written in any language, but not biological names. Next, study the following statements A to D given below and select 2 correct ones out of them. Okay. Now, we have to, this is the statement based question, we have to choose the right statement. Definition of biological species was given by Ernst Mayr, true, where he gave us the biological concept of species, saying that species are group of organisms which can interbreed and produce the fertile offsprings. So, this is correct statement only. Photoperiod does not affect the reproduction of plant, wrong. Photoperiod will affect the reproduction of plant. Binomial nomenclature was given by R.H. Whittaker, wrong. Binomial nomenclature was given by Carolus Linnaeus. 5 kingdom system of classification is given by R.H. Whittaker. Next, in universal organisms, reproduction is synonymous with growth. Yes, of course, in unicellular organisms, reproduction is synonymous with growth. Why? Unicellular organisms, just one cell divides into 2 without any synaptonemal complex or spindle fiber formation, one cell divides into 2, that we will call it as amitosis. amitosis, or simply binary fission we will call it as. So, in unicellular organisms reproduction is synonymous with growth. As they are reproducing, cell number also increases. Cell number also increases. So, here cell number is increasing wherein growth is happening, at the same time reproduction is also happening. So, this is a correct statement. So, if you have to see beta, statement A is true and D is true. These two are false. So, you have to go with the option C. Next question. Look into this question, which is an application based. This is very interesting. If at all any one of you can answer it in the chat box. I will explain you. So, Nicotiana sylvestris flowers only during long days and Nicotiana tabacum is a short day plant. So, here there are two species, one is long day plant and the other is short day plant. They can be induced to flower at the same time and can be cross fertilized to produce the offspring. So, this says what is the reason for contributing Nicotiana sylvestris and tobacco as separate species. Why they are kept in separate species and they are crossed in the laboratories. We will get the answer simply from the biological concept of species given by Ernst Mayr. Two species will say like they can interbreed naturally and produce fertile offsprings. If they can interbreed among themselves, we will call it as same species, but here these two are two separate species, which says that they cannot interbreed in the nature. That is why we are promoting it in the laboratory. They are not reproductively distinct because they are two different species. They are not physiologically distinct, they are not morphologically distinct as well. They are physiologically, reproductively, morphologically indistinct, and that is why they are kept into two separate species. So, here we have to go with the option A. Next, if you look into this is R.H. Whittaker system of classification. The question is from 5 kingdom system of classification considering 5 criterias. The question is based on the criterias. Which of the following characters serve as the criteria for 5 kingdom system of classification used by R.H. Whittaker? So, here cell structure, thallus organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, phylogenetic relationships. All these are the criteria for 5 kingdom system of classification. So, we will go with the option D, that is all the above. Now, here I would like to highlight 2 more points. What is the most important criteria from 5 kingdom system of classification? What is the most important criteria beta? You can answer my question in the chat box. What is the most important criteria for 5 kingdom system of classification? The most important criteria for 5 kingdom system of classification is mode of nutrition. Okay, the most important criteria for 5 kingdom system of classification is mode of nutrition. For 2 kingdom system of classification, which is given by Linnaeus, what is the most important criteria there? Cell wall. Cell wall is the most important criteria for 2 kingdom system of classification. That is the reason fungi is kept under plantae kingdom for 2 kingdom system of classification. Do remember beta. Next, mushrooms, bracket fungi, puffballs are kept or placed in which class of fungi? They are placed in the advanced class of fungi, that is Basidiomycetes. Okay? Mushrooms, bracket fungi and puffballs, they are placed in the advanced class of fungi, those are Basidiomycetes. Next, if you see identify incorrectly matched pair. Okay? This is from Protista, this is from the kingdom Protista. Okay? Let us revise the concepts also parallelly by doing the objective. First, diatoms, these are the chief producers in the ocean. True, diatoms are the chief producers in the ocean, which are under the class Chrysophycetes. Next, dinoflagellates cause red tides. What is the example here Which dinoflagellate is causing the red tides? Goniolax. Goniolax is causing red tides in the Red Sea, that is the dinoflagellate. Slime mold spore dispersal is by water. Wrong. Slime molds does not have cell wall, but the spores released by slime molds is having the cell wall. Okay, spores released by the slime molds will have cellulosic cell walls and they are not dispersed by water beta. Next, euglenoids, they doesn't have cell wall, but they have protein rich layer called as pellicle, which makes their body flexible or to move in any water bodies. So, here what you have to choose? Incorrectly matched pair. So, we will be going with the option C. Next, select the incorrect statement from the following. We have to choose the incorrect statement here, again a statement based question. So, here Mangifera solanum panthera represents generic epithets. Okay, Mangifera solanum and panthera, they will represent generic epithets. True. Mangifera indica, solanum tuberosum, panthera leo, all these terms are under genus. Petunia and datura, they come under family. True, of course, they belong to the family Solanaceae. Same Petunia and datura both belongs to the same family Solanaceae. Leo, aestivum and musca, they represent specific epithets. Wrong. So, panthera leo, leo is species correct. Triticum aestivum, aestivum species correct, but musca domestica, that is for house fly, this musca is of generic epithet. Okay, this is generic epithet, not species. Okay, mango belongs to the order Sapindales. True. So, here we have to go with the option C. Next, if you look into my assertion, archaebacteria are able to survive in the harsh habitats. Correct, they are able to survive in the harsh habitats. Next, presence of peptidoglycan in the cell wall helps archaebacteria to survive the extreme conditions. Wrong, because we all know the cell wall of archaebacteria is not peptidoglycan. Cell wall of archaebacteria is not peptidoglycan. Okay. What is the cell wall of archaebacteria? It is made up of polysaccharides and branched lipids. Okay, polysaccharides and branched lipids are in the cell wall of archaebacteria, which makes them to survive as thermoacidophils, halophiles, okay, and methanogens. It is not peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan is the cell wall for eubacteria. It is the cell wall for eubacteria. Done, ma? So, here we have to go with what? Assertion is true, but reason is false. The assertion is true, but reason is false. Option C is the correct answer. Next, if you have to consider how many of the following statements regarding fungi is true. Okay, how many of the following statements? We have to pick the correct statement for fungi. Asexual reproduction is common by formation of spores. True. Next, their bodies consist of hyphae that may be interconnected to form mycelium. Correct. They secrete digestive enzymes onto the organic matter and they absorb the products of the digestion. True, because that is the saprophytic mode of nutrition. Fungi can break down almost any carbon containing product. Okay. So, yes, it can break down any carbon containing product. Fungi do not enter into symbiotic relationship. Wrong. The symbiotic association between algae and fungi, symbiotic association between algae and fungi will mark up the lichens, which are pioneers of plant succession, and fungi is also in symbiotic association with the roots of higher plants. What is the example of that beta? Pinus. Okay, Pinus is having what type of roots? Mycorrhizal roots. Mycorrhizal roots, which has obligate association with fungi. That is why you will call it as mycorrhizal roots. This is symbiotic association. So, here what will, how many are correct options? Ma? This is wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, we have to go with the option C. Whenever this type of questions are given, just analyze each and every statement properly by putting an example to it beta. Analyze each and every statement by putting an example over it, and then you will understand each statement properly. Next, consider the following statements regarding Mycoplasma. They are the genus of bacteria that have unique cell wall of their own. Wrong. Mycoplasma are the smallest bacteria. They are wall-less. They don't have cell wall, they are wall-less. In their genetic code, UGA codes for tryptophan, that is true. Usually UGA, UAG, UAA, all these are of stop codons, right? But here UGA is coding for tryptophan, that is true for Mycoplasma. Next, none of them is pathogenic to humans, wrong. Sometimes Mycoplasma are, this is correct only, Mycoplasma are not pathogenic to humans, they are pathogenic to cattle, causing pleuropneumonia like bacteria, and they have large genome, wrong, they have very small genome, they can be cured by penicillin, true. Okay, this can be cured by penicillin, wrong, because Mycoplasma, this bacteria doesn't have cell wall. Penicillin will act on the cell wall of bacteria, okay, that is peptidoglycan cell wall of bacteria. Okay, penicillin will act on peptidoglycan cell wall of bacteria, fine, and they can survive without oxygen, true. Okay, they are facultative anaerobes, they can survive without oxygen. So here how many statements are correct, ma? This type of statement based questions will give you where you will feel like more tricky. Okay, this type of statement based questions you will feel like tricky, and this you have to practice more is what I feel when it comes to statement based questions. So here how many statements are correct? First is wrong as it is wall-less, second is correct because in Mycoplasma UGA is coding for tryptophan, and none of them is pathogenic to humans, correct, because they are pathogenic to cattle and plants. Next, they doesn't have large genome, and penicillin will not act because it doesn't have cell wall. Next, they can survive without oxygen. So 1, 2, 3, only 3 statements are correct, we have to go with option C. Next, why no watching, ma'am? I didn't get you, ma. Just answer the questions, and if you are having any doubt, just drop it on the chat box, I will be answering beta. Now, which of the following are valid pointers for demerits to two kingdom system of classification? First, here you have to remember two main important points, ma. Two kingdom system of classification is proposed by Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, two kingdom system of classification is proposed by Carolus Linnaeus, and those two kingdoms are Plantae and Animalia. There are many criteria considered like nutrition, locomotion, okay, and response to external stimuli. Many criteria considered, but of the most important criteria is what? Cell wall. Cell wall is the important criteria for two kingdom system of classification, because of which all prokaryotes and eukaryotes are kept under Plantae, and all autotrophic, heterotrophic are kept under Plantae, and fungi is also included under Plantae because it has cell wall. Okay, what is the cell wall of fungi? Chitin. That is also included under Plantae in two kingdom system of classification. So here if you see, ma, Euglena has features of both plants and animals. True, because Euglena exhibits what type of nutrition? You have to answer. What type of nutrition, beta? Euglena has mixotrophic nutrition. Euglena has mixotrophic nutrition. Chlamydomonas is autotrophic but has flagella. True, Chlamydomonas is autotrophic and it has flagella. Slime molds resembles animals in one phase of life cycle while plants on the other phase. Where is it resembling plants on the other phase? It is resembling when it is producing spores, okay, because spores are having cell wall that resembles plants. So, this is also true. So, here what we have to identify, what are the valid pointers for the demerits of Euglena, demerits of two kingdom system of classification. Demerits for this specifically includes 2 and 3. So, we have to go with the option C. Next, column 1 and column 2, column based, like again match the following type of questions. This is basically on the examples. So, here if you see Monera, okay, under Monera, what are the examples we have to look into, ma? Bacillus and Oscillatoria, okay, Monera. Protista, which includes unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Unicellular eukaryotes here includes Euglena and Trypanosoma, which is a flagellated protozoan, and Euglena, which has mixotrophic nutrition under chrysophytes. Next, fungi. Fungi includes what? Mucor and Penicillium, that is option 4. Next, for plants, under plantae what is there? Chlamydomonas and Solanum, that is option 1. Animalia includes Felis and Panthera, okay, which is 5. So, here what you have to go with beta? A is 2 and B is 3, C is 4, D is 1 and E is 5. So, that is why all the time I will be telling you mainly focus on the examples. Just by looking into it, you should be in a position to identify. Sometimes you may be confused between Monera and Protista examples. At that time, just recall whichever are eukaryotic cells and whichever are prokaryotic cells. Hi Grishma, just go through the class beta and look into all the PYQs, ma'am. And revise the concepts as well. Anywhere, any doubt, just drop a message on chat box, I will be answering. Next, here if you see, among common cold, mumps, chickenpox, herpes, influenza, AIDS, how many diseases are caused by viruses in humans? How many are viral infections? Here we have to look into. First, common cold, flu is a viral infection for humans, mumps also, chickenpox, herpes disease, sexually transmitted, influenza, AIDS through HIV, all these are human affected viral infections only. So, here all the 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the 6 are viral infections only, that is option D. Now, here if you see, this question is from plant kingdom. Now, we are going to watch it. The diploid sporophyte is represented by dominant independent photosynthetic vascular plant body. So, wherein sporophyte is dominant and independent, this you will first observe in pteridophytes, right? Pteridophytes, what is the dominant plant body? Dominant plant body is sporophyte here. It alternates with multicellular autotrophic independent short-lived haploid gametophyte. So, in pteridophytes you have to remember this like this beta, both gametophyte and sporophyte both are independent to each other, okay. Both gametophyte and sporophyte are independent to each other, but sporophyte is dominant. You can remember like this, both having so much of self-respect, nothing is dependent on each other, okay. No, nothing, gametophyte stage is not dependent on sporophyte for nutrition, sporophyte is also not depending on gametophyte for nutrition. Both are independent to each other, but the dominant plant body is sporophytic plant body. This is for what, ma? Pteridophytes. In bryophytes, what is the dominant plant body? Answer that beta. What is the dominant plant body in bryophytes? In bryophytes, the dominant plant body is gametophyte, okay. Dominant plant body is gametophyte in bryophytes, okay. Now, so if you see pteridophytes, it has Selaginella and Lycopodium, both are the examples of pteridophytes here. So, we have to go with the option B. Seeded plants, gymnosperms and angiosperms, when we have to choose it, ma? When it has diplontic life cycle, dominant plant body is sporophyte and gametophyte is dependent on the sporophyte, okay. In seed plants, that is gymnosperms and angiosperm, gametophyte is dependent on the sporophyte, okay. Like that you have to look into. Now, if you have to see assertion and reason type of question, in Pinus, coralloid roots are associated with nitrogen fixing bacteria. Coralloid roots in Pinus associated with nitrogen fixing bacteria, that is completely wrong, because for Cycas, okay, remember that beta, Cycas and Pinus both are gymnosperms, right. In Cycas, the association is with blue-green algae or cyanobacteria, which includes, what are the examples for that, ma? What are the examples for blue-green algae or cyanobacteria? Answer me. What are they? Nostoc, Anabina, Alocera. Okay, these are the examples of blue-green algae. So, blue-green algae in association with cycas roots, what do you call it as? You call it as coralloid roots. Coralloid roots. In Pinus, what is the association? In Pinus, it is the association with fungi. In Pinus, the association is with fungi. This is called as mycorrhizal roots. Mycorrhizal roots. Fine. So, remember these two associations, very important. Many a times we have seen that in question paper, either about coralloid roots or about mycorrhizal roots. Okay, beta? So, keep that in your mind. Now, in Pinus, the coralloid roots are associated with nitrogen fixing bacteria. Wrong, because in Pinus, mycorrhizal roots associated with fungi, forming both ectomycorrhiza and endomycorrhiza. In cycas, mycorrhiza is present. Wrong. In cycas, what is present? Coralloid roots are present, that is BGA, blue-green algae is present. So, here both assertion and reason are false. So, we have to go with option D. Okay. Now, this is most important segment from plant kingdom, that is why I have put this question over here. A good practice. The endosperm of gymnosperm will develop before fertilization or after fertilization. You have to answer me. This we have done in our classes also. Okay. So, yes, the endosperm of gymnosperms develops before fertilization from haploid megaspore. Okay. From haploid megaspore inside the archegonia, it is differentiated to endosperm. Few of the cell is differentiated to endosperm. This happens before fertilization in gymnosperms. That is why in gymnosperms, what is the ploidy of endosperm, beta? Answer me, what is the ploidy of endosperms in gymnosperms? It is haploid. Whereas endosperm of an angiosperms develops from post fertilization, that is after triple fusion. That is after triple fusion. Right. This is after triple fusion. That is why the ploidy of endosperm post fertilization in angiosperms is triploid. So, here in gymnosperms it is before fertilization, in angiosperms it is after fertilization, that is option D will be the correct answer. Next question, if you look into beta, read the given statements and select the incorrect statements he is asking. Sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than in liverworts. Of course, that is right. In bryophytes, if you see, which sporophyte is more elaborate, ma? The one which is in mosses is more elaborate than the liverworts. Salvinia is homosporous. Wrong. Here I am making you remember this statement again. First heterosporous condition is observed in pteridophytes. Okay. First heterosporous condition is observed in what, ma? Pteridophytes. This is first observed in pteridophytes. First heterosporous condition is observed in pteridophytes, wherein you can remember it with super cool trick, that is mass. Okay. In pteridophytes, what are the examples of heterosporous condition? Means you have to remember it like mass, wherein M is Marsilia, A for Azolla, and S Selaginella, and one more S, that is for Salvinia. Like this you remember, ma. Okay. This is a small trick on remembering the examples of heterosporous condition in pteridophytes. Like this you can remember it. Salvinia is homosporous. Wrong. Salvinia is heterosporous. Again here I am telling you, don't get confused between two terms, salvia and salvinia. Salvia will be an angiosperm. Okay. Salvinia is a pteridophyte. Okay. Next, life cycle in all spermatophytes is diplontic. True? Yes, all spermatophytes means what, ma? Gymnosperms and angiosperms, life cycle is diplontic. In cycas, male cones and megasporophylls are born on the same trees. Wrong. In Pinus, it is monoecious. Monoecious are bisexual, wherein male and female cones you can see on the same plant. But this is not in the case of cycas, which is unisexual. So, fine, here what we have to analyze, incorrect statements. What are the incorrect statements here? 2 and 4, right? So here we have to go with the option C. Fine. See, one more question on the heterospory. Heterospory is found in some members of pteridophytes and all the members of gymnosperms and angiosperms. So here you have to choose pteridophytes and all the members of spermatophyta, which includes both the gymnosperms and angiosperms, that is option D. Next, if you have to see beta, which of the following statements is regarded as gymnosperms? With respect to gymnosperms, it is correct. Which of that? Ovules are naked, not enclosed by any ovary wall before fertilization, but seeds that develop after fertilization are covered. No, because ovule pre-fertilization ovule structure after fertilization, it is modified to seed. Okay, and ovary wall before fertilization, after fertilization this is modified to fruit wall. Fine, after fertilization that is modified to fruit wall. When ovule is not enclosed by ovary wall, how come seed will have seed coat? So this is wrong. In all the living gymnosperms, the sporophyte is dominant over the gametophyte. True, in all living gymnosperms, sporophyte is dominant over the gametophyte. Same will be the case of angiosperms also. They are heterosporous. Of course, it is correct with respect to gymnosperms, all are heterosporous. The male and female gametophytes do not have independent existence. Correct, okay, because gametophyte here is dependent on the sporophyte. So here what are the correct statements we have to go with beta? 2, 3 and 4. So we have to go with option C. Next, see, diagram based question, which is very important. So here recognize the figure and find out the correct matching mark. So here if you see, this is, okay, this A region is what? Endosperm. This A region is endosperm. See, from monocot seed, many a times question is asked, like in previous NEET 2024 also, in some of your EAPCET papers, previous year questions also, from monocot seed and dicot seed diagrams questions are asked. So pay keen attention beta. So here if you see, this is what? Endosperm, and this wall is what? Alluron layer. This wall is alluron layer. And this is what? Scutellum. C is what? Scutellum, which is a papery cotyledon that derives nutrition from the endosperm and gives to the embryonal axis. At the tip of embryonal axis, this D, this sheath is what? Coleoptile, and this will be coleorhiza. So now if you have to name it, A is what, Nana? Endosperm. A is endosperm. B is alluron layer. B will be alluron layer, and A is scutellum. E is coleorhiza. E is coleorhiza, and D will be coleoptile. So like that, option C will be the correct answer. Next, if you have to see, match the column 1 and column 2. Fine. So here epipetalous condition. Epipetalous condition is observed in which family? Whenever like epipetalous, epiphyllous, monodalphous, diadalphous, that characters are coming to your mind, immediately recall the family which is in relation to that. Like that, epipetalous condition is observed in Solanaceae. Epipetalous condition is observed in what, Nana? Solanaceae. So Solanaceae example here will be Ashwagandha, that is 5. Epiphyllous condition is seen in lily, that is 3. Monodalphous is seen in what family? Malvaceae family, that is hibiscus, China rose, that is 2. Diadalphous condition is seen in which family beta? Fabaceae family. Fabaceae family, here what is the example given? Sesbania. Okay. Polyadalphous condition is observed in citrus, that is option 4. So here we have to go with the option D. Fine. So here everything is with respect to andrecium. In andrecium, if we have to recall the concept in andrecium, so andrecium exhibits cohesion and adhesion. Cohesion and adhesion. What is adhesion, ma? What is adhesion? wherein stamens are connected or attached to the other floral parts. If at all the stamen is attached to petals, stamen is attached to petals, that is epipetalous condition. If stamens are attached to perianth, then it is called as epiphyllous condition. And cohesion, if all the stamens united to one bunch, it is monadalphous, two bunches diadelphous, which you will see in Fabaceae family. Polyadelphous, where many bunches you can see, that is in Citrus rutaceae family. So, like that, what is the option beta? Option D is the correct answer. Next, if you have to see how many plants is given in the given list, how many plants below are having marginal placentation. First, you immediately recall marginal placentation for which family it will be? Fabaceae family. Note down the family Fabaceae. Okay, immediately you have to note down the family Fabaceae. So, from this family, how many are showing the marginal placentation? That is the question, right? So, here if you have to see beta, mustard, okay, mustard belongs to Brassicaceae family. Next, gram of Fabaceae, tulip again Asparagus tulip of Liliaceae family, arhar and sunhem again Fabaceae family, chili Solanaceae, colchicum Liliaceae, onion Liliaceae, moong pea belongs to what? Belongs to Fabaceae again, moong and pea again Fabaceae family, tobacco Solanaceae, lupin is again Fabaceae family. So, here on total how many are there from Fabaceae family beta? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Total 6 are there for Fabaceae family. Next, match the column 1 and column 2. Here we have two combinations. First is the examples and here is the family again. So, here we have to look into the aloe vera. The family which is given is what? Liliaceae. Liliaceae, best example is aloe vera. Belladonna, ashwagandha, belladonna, they belongs to Solanaceae. Mullati is the medicinal plant of which family beta? Fabaceae. Ashwagandha is also from Solanaceae. Ashwagandha is from Solanaceae. So, here if we have to choose the correct answer, A is 4, B is 3, C will be 2 and D is again 4. So, here we have to go with the option B. Fine. Next question. Now, the number of identification characters for bryophyllum from the given list. How many, what are the identification characters from bryophyllum they are asking. Immediately listening to the term bryophyllum, the term should come to your mind, that is bryophyllum are having what types of leaves ma? Reproductive leaves. They are having reproductive leaves. So, yes, reproductive leaves means it is having what type of buds? Epiphyllous buds, and leaf nodes are present, adventitious roots are present. So, these are the three characters or the identification characters from bryophyllum. Do remember that. Next, here few in list 1, list 2, list 3, few terms are given. We have to correlate and we have to choose the right option. This is your previous AP EAPCET question ma. So, first is emasculation. Emasculation means what? Removal of anthers. So, this is a practice which is followed for hybridization experiments. So, here A, 4 and 2. Triple fusion. Triple fusion is observed in what? Triple fusion relates to the formation of endosperm. Triple fusion leads to the formation of triploid endosperm, and this you will see in diploid seeds like castor. Next, persistent nucellus. Persistent nucellus examples beet and black pepper, which means perisperm. Perisperm means what ma? Persistent nucellus. Next, scutellum. Okay, scutellum is one cotyledon, one papery cotyledon in the monocots, and this you will see in monocots like grass or Poaceae family. So, here we have to go with the option 4. Next, if you see ma, this is from floral formula and floral diagrams. I have placed many questions from floral formula and floral diagrams. Keep following. From the option given below, find out the correct floral formula for a flower having following characters like actinomorphic, bisexual, 5 united sepals means gamosepalous and polypetalous. 5 united petals, sorry, gamosepalous and gamopetalous. 5 free stamens and epipetalous condition. Epipetalous condition, immediately which family should strike to your mind beta? Solanaceae. Here in all this floral formulae, where you can see epipetalous condition here, right? So, here just by looking into that you can go with the option B. Next, again from dicot seed. So, in dicot seed if you have to look into, so here the small scar like structure is called as hilum. Small scar like structures on the dicot leaf is called, dicot seed is called as hilum, and here the small pore like structure on this is micropyle, and from the dicot seed this is the embryonal axis and these two are cotyledons, right. Above the embryonal axis this goes to plumule, so D is plumule, and this is radical. Below the embryonal axis, that is radical. So, yes, C is radical. So, C radical, D is plumule, and here pore like structure micropyle, A is hilum, that is option A. Next, how many shoot apical meristems is likely to be present in a twig of the plant having 4 branches? Okay, it is having 4 branches and 26 leaves. See, this 26 leaves is to confuse your minds. Okay, so you should not get confused looking into the question like having 26 leaves. No, we all know that shoot apical meristem is present at the apical region of the shoot or the branch. He said that there is a twig which is having 4 branches. How many branches it has beta? 4 branches. So, where is shoot apical meristem present? At the tip of the main branch. Shoot apical meristem is present at the tip of the main branch here and at the tip of the 4 branches, okay, and at the tip of the 4 branches. Nowhere it is related to the number of the leaves that is present in this twig. So, do not get confused at all. So, here how many shoot apical meristems are there on total? 1 plus 4, on total it is 5, okay. 5 shoot apical meristems are present, that is option C. Next, if you have to see assertion reason type of question, assertion reason type of question wherein sclereids are found in fruit walls of nuts, pulp of the fruit like guava, pear and sapota, and seed coats of legumes. Correct? Assertion is true. Sclereids are spherical, oval or cylindrical. They have highly thickened dead cells with narrow lumen. Both assertion and reason are true, but here reason is not explaining why sclereids are there here in these compositions like fruit wall of nut or pulp of guava. So, here what we have to choose, Nana? Assertion is true, but reason is not correct, the explanation of assertion. Whenever both assertion and reason are true, but here comes the thought in your mind whether to choose for right explanation or incorrect explanation. Just read the reason 5 to 6 times at least, keeping the questions like why, what, if, because. Okay? When you put that questions and read the reason again and again, then you will get to know whether reason is explaining the assertion or not. Then you can go for choosing the right option. Now, here is a match the following type of question again, wherein vessels, what vessels will have what ma? Perforation plates. So, here just looking into the perforation plates, you can go for option 3. Tracheids are long tube like with what? Tapering ends. So, here you can go for option 4, and xylem fibers. Xylem fibers will possess thick cell wall and central lumen. Obliterated or very narrow central lumen is present, correct? And xylem parenchyma, these cells are living, only living cells in the xylem or only living tissue in the xylem, that is xylem parenchyma, which is having cellulosic cell wall and which is having thin cell wall, that is option D is 1. So, here if you have to choose ma, A is 3, B is 4, C is 2 and D is 1. Option B will be the correct answer. Next, identify the type of vascular bundle which is shown and we have to select the incorrect statement with respect to that. Just looking into this diagram, we can clearly say that it is radial type of vascular bundle, and xylem and phloem are not present in the same radii, right. So, here figure represents radial, we have to choose what? Incorrect statement. Whenever in the question statement based questions are given, look into whether they are asking for the correct statement or incorrect statement, then you go for choosing the options. So, here if you have to see figure represents, it represents what? Radial vascular bundles in which xylem and phloem occur in the form of separate bundles. True. Xylem bundles and phloem bundles occur at different radii. True. These are the characteristic of monocot and dicot leaves. False, because monocot and dicot leaves will have conjoined closed vascular bundles. Okay. Monocot and dicot leaves will have what, Nana? Conjoined closed vascular bundles. They have conjoined and closed vascular bundles. Fine. And roots will be having radial vascular bundles, radial closed in monocot root, radial open in dicot root. When it comes to stem, they have conjoined collateral open type of vascular bundle in dicot stem, conjoined collateral closed type you will see in monocot stem. So, here you have to go for the wrong option. So, it is option C. Okay, C will be the answer here. And next, which of the following is not true? After this, we will be solving 2 more questions and ending the session beta. So, stay active. Which of the following is not true, he is asking. So, here cork cambium, first you listen here properly. Cork cambium is the secondary meristem in the cortex region, right. So, cork cambium is also called as phellogen, correct. Cork cambium is also called as phellogen. New cells which are formed towards the epidermis is called as cork cells or phellum. They are called as cork cells or phellum. Those cells which are formed towards the endodermis, they are called as secondary cortex or phelloderm. They are called as secondary cortex or phelloderm. Now, you answer this easily. Cork cambium is also called as phellogen, correct. Cork is also called as phellum, true. Secondary cortex is also called as periderm, this is wrong. Secondary cortex is also called as phelloderm, not periderm. Cork cambium, cork and secondary cortex collectively called as periderm, not phelloderm. So, this is also wrong. So, if you have to choose the wrong options or the incorrect statements, those are 3 and 4. So, we have to go with option A. And next, 4 plants are observed. Okay, we have to choose based on the characteristic. Okay, A is primitive land plant. Primitive land plants are what, ma? Bryophytes, right? Primitive land plants are bryophytes. Here under A, what is the bryophyte? Markantia is the liverwort under bryophyte. We can consider these 2. Next, B is embryophytic archegoniate phanerogam. Means here it is talking about a gymnosperm. So, gingo and cycas both are gymnosperm. We can consider this too. C is autotrophic thallophyte. Autotrophic thallophyte means it is talking about autotrophic thallophyte is algae. Okay, it is what? Algae. So, here if you have to see Spirogyra laminaria, both we can consider. Okay. Next, which is showing haplontic life cycle, both are showing haplontic life cycle only. D is non-flowering plant with heterosporous sporangium. Non-flowering plant having heterosporous condition means which one, ma? Pteridophytes. Okay, what is it? Pteridophytes. From pteridophytes we have to choose pteridophytes and heterosporous condition, that is what? Selaginella. Just now we have looked the examples, right? Selaginella, Salvinia, Marsilia, Azolla. These examples are from what? Heterosporous condition of pteridophytes. Sphagnum will come under what, beta? Bryophyte, it is not a pteridophyte. So, here we have to go with the option 2. Okay. So, just by looking into the characteristic features, decode that, you can easily choose the option. Decode the question, based on that your answer analysis will be easy. So, yes, With this we have completed the questionnaire session 1. In the coming questionnaire session, which is going to happen tomorrow, so definitely watch that session where we are going to cover most interesting and expected questions from cell biology, which includes cell the unit of life, biomolecules, cell division, plant physiology and sexual reproduction of flowering plants. 3 major chapters wherein you can score at least 10 to 15 marks from that. Okay. So, stay tuned and watch tomorrow's class. And I would like to end this session by saying you a very good news, like you can practice n number of objectives, like n number of objectives with answers, explanations and your proper revision series, and also for the students who are planning for long term, what should be the planner for the long tenure of your study. Everything is given in an elaborative manner and in a creative manner in the Telegram channel, which is in the description box. So, do not go without watching the Telegram channel, where you will be highly benefited from that. Thank you.